um, in Northwest Iowa. So, yes, we have four panelists with us tonight. We have Carrie, Teresa, Jen, and Tammy, and they have willingly joined us to answer any questions that you might have and give their insight on their experiences with Brightwheel and Playground. But first, Rebecca is one of our supervisors, and she's going to go ahead and just give an overview of our program and what Child Care Collaborative of Iowa is.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Callie. Welcome. Thanks for hopping right in after work and popping in and taking a minute to learn about what the Child Care Collaborative of Iowa is. So we are a program that supports child care homes and centers on the business side of child care. And the way that we do that is that we have a partnership with a child care management system, either Brightwheel or Playground. And then we have a coach that will come out and support you on all things integrating the management system and supporting you on your business side of childcare. So right now, the state of Iowa has invested in Brightwheel Playground, and they are paying for those subscriptions for all registered home providers until June of 2027. So as long as you're registered with HHS, you're able to get access to not only a child care management system, but also a financial management coach. An FMC is usually what we refer to ourselves as. We serve all 99 counties, so it doesn't matter where you're located at in the state of Iowa. We can work with you. We have coaches across the state that do that. With our program, you also get access to a technology grant, which is up to $1,000 to be able to support implementing your child care management system. So maybe a laptop, maybe an iPad or a tablet to be able to check kids in and out. Whatever you might need for your program specifically, your coach will kind of work with you to develop what is best needed and be able to help you get access to that technology grant and get that technology in your hands. We also have an integration with childcare assistance. So if you are taking childcare assistance in your program, childcare assistance families, as long as you're using the childcare management system and parents are signing in and out, it automatically talks to the KinderTrack system. So no longer do you have to log in to the KinderTrack system and type in your attendance for those kiddos. It can automatically talk and take that sign in and sign out times and transfer over, which is a really great thing. Helps you guys save a little bit of time on the back end of things. Something that is brand new for some of our child development homes is if you're part of the food program, part of the CACFP, and your sponsor uses my food program, we do have a brand new pilot integration that's happening for those folks. So depending on how you're submitting that and the food sponsor that you're using, that is something that is just basically brand new, which is really exciting to be able to kind of start with that pilot. So today you're going to hear from a couple brightwheel users, a couple playground users, experience of what it looks like to use the child care management system in your day-to-day lives, which we know is busy and hectic and always on the go. Also going to see what it's like to work with an FMC and work with a coach. They'll tell a little bit of experience about that as well. So if you have questions, we're a pretty low-key group. So like Tiffany said, you can go ahead and type your message in the chat. You can come off mute and we will answer your question either then or we can come back to it in a little bit. In the chat is our website that you can go and find more information on. We have some resources about what it looks like to check out the management systems. If you're unsure, we don't recommend one or the other. They both do a lot of the similar things, which you'll hear a little bit about tonight. But we really encourage you to make the right choice for your program. We also have a business library that has resources on it, and anyone can access those. Very basic kind of beginner business tools, like maybe why it's important to have a business bank account, or maybe why it's important to think about saving these things for taxes. So it kind of is built for you in mind, and it has some of that basic business practice. Anybody can check that out. So feel free to take a look at that. Are there any questions specifically before we get started with hearing about the management systems and the coaching that is involved? Then I will turn it over to Tiffany and she will, I think, introduce our Brightwheel folks first. Thanks for being here, guys.
And I apologize, I forgot to have the Brightwheel and Playground people introduce themselves. So I will have the four panelists introduce themselves and tell us what, like maybe the area you're located, and then what childcare management system you use. Tammy, do you want to start us off?
I'm Tammy Adamson. I work in Crest in Union County. So I think that's Region 3. And I have Playground as my um, tool. Is that all you need?
Okay.
Perfect.
And I'm
Yes.
Teresa Mast, and I'm in Warren County. I have no idea what region that is. And I'm also Playground.
I'm Carrie Carr. I'm up in Webster County, and I'm a brightwheel user. Oh, and it's Region 1. Thanks.
And I'm Jennifer Klein. I'm in Harrison County, and I'm also a brightwheel user.
Perfect. Thank you. We will go ahead and start with the Brightwheel users first, with our questions. So our first question is, what was one of the first things or a new thing you changed when adding a childcare management system?
I'll go. The first thing I implemented was the billing part of it, and I absolutely loved it. I'm not one, I don't like change. I was happy with my pen and paper system, and Crystal showed me the billing part of it first, and I was amazed at how simple and easy it was, and how much quicker and how much more on time my payments were coming to me.
Perfect. Thank you.
For me, there's so many important things, the auto pay, the direct pay, the integration to KinderTrack. But for me, it was my sign in and sign out procedure, because the way my building is set up, or my home, it was not a nice flow for anybody to try to find that sheet, try to sign in. Plus, I made my own sheet and it was horrible. And so now they just do it on their phones when they sign in. And if they need to borrow my phone, that's fine too. But it's all kept track of, and I can print a report. HHS would want it. Otherwise, it's always on file and it's available. So that's the first thing that made me real happy.
Awesome. Thank you. Our next question, what made you hesitant to switch or start using your childcare management system?
I'll go. Like I said, I don't like change. I've been used to almost 16 years of everything's pen and paper. It's right there. And I don't know. I grew up in a generation. I'm not as tech savvy as a lot of these people are, but I'm learning it. So I was hesitant because it was a big change, but I'm glad I made that change because it's very helpful.
And I'm a lot like Jennifer. I like knowing where everything is and knowing I can touch it at a moment's notice. So I was a little hesitant. And I guess one of the things that I was really afraid of was the economic effect or impact it might have as soon as it's no longer being paid for. And I guess I'm kind of a naysayer sometimes. It's like, well, sure, we get it now, but it's been available to us for many years, and the rumor is they'll make it worth make it available and more, they'd make it affordable for us if we, keep doing it, and if the state would stop paying for it. So I'm I'm thinking I'm going to stick with it. So I appreciate the opportunity to have it now.
I was gonna say the cost. I was skeptical like you too, Carrie. I was like, you're giving it to me free now. How much is it gonna cost me down the line? But then it was like, we also have access to all of these grants and stuff. And I thought, well, shoot, we can use these grants to help pay for that month or that year, whatever. So it's so totally worth it. Coming from somebody that, like we've both said, not a big change person. I'm not putting all that money into it. It is so worth it. So worth it. And even if it does start costing something, I'll find a way to implement it because now I can't go without it. It has so much to offer, even from the little bit that I use right now, so much to offer.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question. What have you enjoyed most from working with your FMC or your financial management coach?
I'll let you start, Carrie.
It's always good to have another person in your corner. She has great suggestions and always makes it seem possible. I'm, like we've said, not sure about technology or any change, but she always makes it seem easy. And she said that, I just should start by using what's useful and what's helpful for me. And then I can always add more features as I gain my comfort and when my need increases. Right now I maybe don't have need for something, but a different child may come in that would really make that helpful. So, right, that I like having someone to go to for questions. And in the beginning, she was always there when I couldn't figure it out. Even if we figured it out together, it's just nice to have someone there. So that's why I enjoy it.
I agree with that 100%. Crystal is, I can call, text any time of the day, and no question is a silly question. I mean, she can give you the short version or she can give you the long version. Always, always there to help. And I mean, like we've said, the technology part, I'm like, I don't understand this. And she's like, oh, it's this easy. So yeah, they are always there forever. I don't think I've ever called, texted, whatever, and them not responded promptly. They're always there, always there.
Great. Thank you guys. What benefits have you seen from working with your coach and using your childcare management system?
Overall, um, my coach gave me the tools and the words that I needed to present my business in a more professional way and made me feel more sound and viable myself. So I'm a stronger advocate for myself and my children because I now have paperwork. I can show them, I can prove, I can, whether I have to go to a bank, whether I have to try to explain why to someone who is asking me, why do I want this funding? Or why do I think I need this funding? I feel like I have a better handle on being able to show them and make it sound believable.
I totally agree. I've was kind of always one. I've kind of pretty much had the same families over the last 16 years. So over the last 6 months, realizing that I was going to have new families, I'm like, well, I need to buckle down and really buckle down. And they have helped me realize you are a professional. You're not just here to babysit. You are a professional. This is your job. Let's get it wrote out this way. And every step of the way, they are helping you there to help write it out, to help back you up. Like Carrie said too, you have the proof to show somebody, or like my biggest thing was this was actually the first year that I used it for a full year. I didn't have to write out my own tax papers. I told the parents, hey, click on your brightwheel account. It's all there. So less paperwork. I was like, heck yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. I can't say any negative things about it. It's so positive and has so benefited my daycare business. I absolutely love it.
Awesome. Thank you. We love to hear all of the positive things for sure.
If can I add one thing?
Absolutely.
We both agree that our coaches are like so accessible and easy to get a hold of, and we can count on them for answers. I just want to throw out there that Brightwheel has a help function, and it's an entire library, and it doesn't just give you words in this little box. It gives you an entire file to follow through step by step by step. You can do it that way, or you can get on a chat and ask them specific questions, and they've helped me, they've helped my parents. They just want it to work, so we get a lot of support either.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, do you guys have anything else to add about anything else you want to say about Brightwheel or working with your coach? Perfect. And do any of the other, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like I said, skeptical, but for the last year and a half that I have had it, it has opened so many opportunities and made me a better provider. And like I said, amazing, amazing.
Awesome. Thank you. Do we have, oh, I see Kim. Looks like you raised your hand there. Do you have a question for our panelists?
Yeah, for Carrie and Jennifer, what helped you decide between the two platforms, Playground and Brightwheel? Was there reasoning behind that, or what are your thoughts on that?
My answer is really a bad answer. They were the first ones that called me. And I went, okay, you win. I wasn't even up to the task of trying to figure out who had what. And as the years progress and I'm on, different forums and different classes, we find out that they really do seem to offer kind of the same things. So I can't really speak to which is better. I don't think there probably is a wrong answer. But there is a lot of information out there if you have time to, look at both of them. Or if you start with your coach, I bet they can help you go through what's important to you and which is maybe the better choice.
I'm the same way as Carrie. I got a phone call one day and for Brightwheel, I didn't even know that there was another option out there. But then when I would go to Brightwheel meetings or, classes or whatever, I'm like, what is this playground thing that they're talking about? But like Carrie said, very similar, very similar. So I think just, talk to your coach and whichever one fits better for your needs.
And I was
Yes,
just
and
going
just
to
to add
throw,
to
oh,
that,
go ahead, Kelly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just to add to that, as coaches, we do have a resource too that helps you kind of like weigh out which one might work best for your program that we can help you walk through and fill out as well. So your
You're
coaches are
able
always,
to
your
book,
coach will always, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Tiffany.
thought you were done. Sorry. We're just going to talk over each other. You're also able to book like a 30-minute demo with each of the vendors before you choose. So when if you decide you want to join the program, there's an option. If you know you want Brightwheel, you want Playground, you can select that, or you can select undecided. And then we can help you schedule a 30-minute demo with each of the vendors before selecting one. So you can kind of ask your questions and see the way it looks in the management system before you make that selection. So lots of options, and you're, not going in blinded for sure. We'll help you with that.
Yes. Does anyone else have questions for our Brightwheel panelists?
I had heard from somebody that there is a preschool curriculum with Brightwheel, and they send it to you, everything's pre-cut, ready to go. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. Do either of you, Carrie or Jennifer, use that at all?
Not yet. They had brought it to my attention at the end of the year, and with it being Christmas, New Year's, they were supposed they'll get back to me here in mid June or whatever to look back into that. But it sounds amazing. Like they're doing all the work for you. Amazing.
Yes, I as a coach, I guess, do have a few programs who do utilize that feature. It is an extra cost outside of the free version that the state is paying for. But essentially what you do is you pay for those lesson plans and the curriculum, and then they will automatically send you a box each month with all of the materials and the supplies that are in it that you need for that lesson plan, I guess. Does that answer your question? Perfect. Any other questions for our Brightwheel panelists before we move on?
I have one more. I have a couple more questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So is there a way to keep track of your expenses? And does it kind of track it as you go? Like, does it keep everything added up for you? And can it do time space percentage for you as well if you enter in the required information at the beginning, if that makes sense? So for like the shared household expenses?
Yes, yes. So it does have that expense tracking feature, and you're able to do all of those things through there. Carrie or Jen, do you want to, if you're using that feature, do one of you want to share on that and how it's benefited you?
I just recently started using the expense part of it. So I would say within the last couple months, like beginning of the year, and I am just amazed. I like start putting stuff in and I'm like, oh, I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know it could do that. I mean, this program amazes me every single day with just simple little things that it can do. But I haven't like done the time space percentage or anything like that. I just my expenses, like what I take in and what I take out. So I'm not that far into it yet.
And I believe you can tie it right to your checkbook. So most of those entries would be there for you already. And you can just tweak them the way you need to as far as splitting them or whatever.
Thank you. Any other questions for our Brightwheel panelists? Sounds great. And we will have time at the end again too for questions. So if something comes up as you're sitting here listening to everyone else, we'll have time again at the end. So we're going to move on to Playground, which is the other childcare management system. We're going to do the same question. So the first one, what was one of the first things or a new thing that you changed when when you started using Playground?
I started using Playground. It's been a few years ago, when they first brought it out. And the thing I think that I changed first was the sign in, sign out. I was the same way. I had a paper track that I made myself, and that's everybody checked in and checked out off on that. There was no signatures on it or anything. So I like that I can put on their account who's accessible to pick them up. And the parents have invited their like grandparents, and so they can check if they're on there, they can check them out as they were the ones that picked the child up. And so I do like that. So that was probably the first thing that I changed.
Thank you. Teresa, do you want to go ahead and answer that one?
Yeah. I kind of came at it a different way because I had run in-home daycare when my children were younger. And then when they went to school, I closed down the daycare. And now that I've got grandkids starting to come in, I was reopening it. And when I ran the first time, I had a row of clipboards on the wall that had everybody's sheet with what they did all day with activities and diaper changes and bottles and all of that. And as I started putting that sheet together, I'm like, there has to be an app for this. This is the 2000s. Surely there's an app for this. So that got me looking for what are the options. And there were tons of options. And I had narrowed it down to brightwheel and playground. And in the end, I went with playground. I don't know if it's changed, but at that time, playground did time space and brightwheel did not. But Brightwell had better lesson plans than Playground, and so it was back and forth with the two. I did land with Playground, and after I was telling my CCR&R rep, she let me know that, oh, we help with that. I'm like, oh, cool. But yeah, I was looking for something to help with communicating with the parents and landed on Playground.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question, what made you hesitant to switch or start using Playground?
I would say I was a little hesitant at first just because I'm old school too. I've been doing this for almost 40 years. So, I was a little hesitant and I did talk with some of my parents before I made the choice because I wanted to see what they thought about it. Do you want me to go on the internet with this information? Is that going to be a problem for you? And I wanted to make sure that all my parents were on board with me making changes. And they were. So I'm like, okay, this is great. Then we're going to start this. This will be easy for us. And that's why I was a little hesitant at first. I'm not real, I don't like to put a lot of pictures out of the kids or any of that stuff, even yet. So I just don't do it.
Okay. Did you want to answer this one?
Yeah, obviously I didn't have hesitancy in starting it. From the very beginning, I send the link to the families sign up. I do like the fact that when I am posting for each of the children, I can pick who gets which pictures. So it's not going to just, even if it's a private Facebook, it's not going to everybody. Each person has their own pictures and nobody else's. Um, one of the things that I found interesting when I first started is how many of the dads would come back and say, this is really cool. Usually we're getting the information from mom, what happened in the child's day. And now we're getting it first time, and the moms were kind of cute, with, hey, dad called and said, did you see the pictures that just posted and stuff? And so it was neat to get the dad's involvement in a way that we normally don't.
Perfect, thank you. Our next question is, what have you enjoyed the most working with your financial management coach?
I just I've changed a couple of different times with financial coaches, but the first gal, and I don't even remember, she helped me get the technology grant, which was great. So I was able to get a um iPad to put out in the doorway so everybody can sign in from there or with their phone. And then I also was able to get like a scanner so I can scan receipts, I can scan paperwork, whatever. So I like that idea and it was great. And Crystal's been great. She's helped me. I don't use her probably as often as I should. So, but when I need something, she's always there, and I like that.
Thank you. Teresa?
Um, I was really intimidated working with a coach. I didn't want somebody coming in and telling me how to do my business. I was concerned where I was just starting off, what they would think about with the finances and stuff. But at the same time, I remember not liking the paperwork at all before. And so it took me a while to warm up to the idea. Kind of what won me over is when she was first introducing, she was like, yeah, if you need me to come to your dining room table and sit down with you with a box of receipts and go through them, that's what I'll do. I'm here to meet you where you're at. I'm like, okay, we can try this. Luckily, we never got to that point, but she did teach me how to use all the different reports and stuff that I always thought, well, that's for the big companies. I'm not a big company. I don't need that. And it was very eye-opening how much I used those and how much they helped. Because before, well, if there's money in the bank account, well, then I've got money to spend. And if there's not, well, then I don't have money to spend. But she helped me kind of see where the ebbs and flows were coming and plan ahead. Yeah. So, that when the insurance for the year came due, I wasn't trying to get it in 2, 3 months. That money was already set aside. And so it just, it flows so much smoother now. And I can see ahead of time. And it's like, if somebody says, hey, can you bring in another one? I can look and see, am I really going to make more money if I bring in extra kids, or am I just going to have more expenses and I'm going to end up even, or, those kind of things. It helps me make those decisions.
Thank you. Last question. What benefits have you seen from working with your coach and using a childcare management system?
Um, I was listening to the one gal ask the question about the expenses. So I would say that's a big benefit to me. I love that on Playground they have an expense card. So, which is tied to my checking account that I use for daycare purposes. So when I go to the grocery store or somewhere and I need to purchase stuff, I just use that account. It shows right up on Playground. This is the amount that I've spent and what's left in on the card. And I love that part. It's making my tax time a whole lot easier than going through receipt after receipt after receipt, trying to figure out where this goes and what it goes to. And so it has forced me not to procrastinate quite as much as I usually do with taxes, because that is one of my things that I don't like about the business is doing taxes. And just having somebody there to answer questions if I can't figure it out. I love that I can call Crystal or I can text her or email her or something to get things figured out. Especially if I get on the help thing and I'm like, I can't find the answer to my question. So then I can ask Crystal and she can figure it out with me. So I like that part.
Thank you. Teresa?
Definitely working with the expenses. Putting in receipts used to be like laundry and dishes. There was just never an end to it. And she gave me a path so that I've got about a week at the beginning of the month where I'm putting everything in, and the rest of the time it's going to its basket and it's waiting, and it's more just reconciling than entering because the bank account automatically puts everything in, and so I'm just assigning them the last couple of days or the first couple of days of the month. I'm assigning last month's bills and filling out my reports to see where I'm at. And this year, when it came time to do taxes, it was just pull the reports and hand it to the accountant. But it was everything was there. It was ready to go. So it wasn't a huge assembly process that I normally have.
Awesome. Thank you guys for answering those questions. Do we have any other questions for our playground panelists?
I had a question. Sorry, again.
No, it's just fine.
Um,
Go for it.
so I'm curious. She had said that you can put in your receipts in there. I guess both systems you can. But I'm just curious, is there a way that it will automatically total or keep track of the mileage using the standard deduction? So, like for example, I use the Red Leaf Press calendar keeper. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but pen and paper again, old school. But on there, so I just write out all my stores that I typically go to and how many miles it is there and back. And in the calendar keeper, it's got a little section for mileage. So beside each receipt, say for Target, I've got it written down on a little cheat sheet, piece of sticky note stuck to my calendar. So then I just know, okay, Target is 2.5 miles round trip. So I just put in the mileage 2.5. Is there a way to enter it in like kind of like what I do, a little cheat sheet that this is how many miles it is from my house and it will automatically do that? Or do you have to still continue doing that manually with each trip that you make to the store?
When I put in my receipts, it has a checkbox in the bottom left-hand corner that you check that to add mileage. And then it pops up, has everything there. You type in, usually it's home. And then if you put Target, it'll automatically give you the ones that you typically go to. You can click the one on the list that you want and it fills in the miles. And then you can determine whether it's round trip or just one way or however. And it automatically records all of that. And then at the end of the month, I just run the report for my mileage for that month and it comes up on the report.
Thank you, Melissa. Looks like you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Sorry, I had to unmute. So I want to hear more about these reports. So I have been using Playground now for a couple months, and um, I've used KidCare for the past 20 some years, and they have all the, track your mileage, and it's automatic. You put from home to say Fairway, it's 3 miles. That records it all. Same as in Playground, and I'm assuming the same as in brightwheel. So that's mileage. Now the expense reporting. So I was trying to run reports on how to submit to my tax people. Now in KidCare, it breaks it down with your schedule 88, 29 and your schedule C and all that. So then I can print that at the end of the year and take it to my tax person. How are you guys printing these reports to show that? And is it in Excel or I'm I'm a little confused on the report aspect of in Playground.
I was using the profit loss flow sheet that my FMC gave me. And so I would pull my reports and break it by category to put it into that spreadsheet that she gave me that's in Excel. And then that's what I forwarded on to my tax accountant. So I didn't pull it directly from Playground. I used the report that the FMC gave me.
Okay, I might have to ask my coach for that report.
Yeah.
And is your coach on tonight too? Because we can let her know to get that to you as well, or that you had some extra questions. We just want to make sure that we're all on the same page there too.
That's me.
Okay, perfect.
I believe, Melissa, I sent it to you before our last meeting, but I will resend it to you again.
Perfect. Thank you. Have any other questions for our panelists?
One thing I was going to mention that we have a tax training specifically as well. So for folks that are working with us, um, we have a class that you can take, sign up for, and then you get some coaching along with that. So really kind of taking that time to dig into how you are tracking your expenses and what works best for you. If it is the management system, if it is looking at an Excel sheet or something to that effect. So that is also something that we offer, which has been a really good benefit for our providers as well.
Can I hype in on that, Rebecca? I've
Definitely.
taken the tax class that you guys offered. I hated everything about taxes. It was like I knew what I needed and I would hand it and I'm like, I don't want nothing more to do with this stuff. It made it so
Mhm.
interesting to me. Like I was like, ooh, that's fun. Ooh, that's fun. So take the
Mhm.
tax class. Take it,
Yes.
take it, take it.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of good information in that tax class on things that counted in, especially with the time space thing, that stuff that I had never even thought about. You know, if I wasn't working, well, then the daycare was closed. Didn't think about when my husband was doing projects for the daycare that that counted in my time space. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but I'd never thought of that. So that class was worth its weight in gold.
Yes,
Yes, it does.
definitely.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say it's 2 hours or it's 8 hours total for HHS credit. Any other questions for the panelists or for the coaches?
I know one question we had asked in the last one that we did was kind of the sometimes it can be daunting to in finding time to meet with us as a coach and just maybe asking the panelists, what they thought or was it too much or how the time part of meeting with us is.
I
can
can
hype.
just jump in and,
Oh,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I was just going to say that it's just like any other support that comes into our facilities. You have to meet with your food program lady. You have to have your spot check. You have to, and they've all done this and have been doing this, being a CCR and our rep, or from wherever their background came from. They understand we were doing a business, and Jamie is amazing. I've worked with her in a lot of different situations, but if you got to go do a diaper, you do a diaper. They wait. The children love visitors, so for me it was absolutely wonderful, and it is nice to have an adult to talk to once in a while, and the kids love another adult to talk to too, so it was not a problem.
I was just going to say pretty much the same thing. You schedule your visits with all the other people that have to come into your home, and I normally choose to do it during nap time cuz I usually get anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour with my coach. And I mean, if you need longer, they give you longer. I mean, that's what they do. But I usually do it during nap time via either Zoom, or I've had Crystal come for an in-home visit. And I mean, they schedule with you, and it it works. It just works out. It just works out. It's never a problem.
And I know my coach, she was willing. She's like, if you need to meet after hours, she goes, I can meet before you open. I can meet after you close. I can work, she was very, very flexible. And there was more than one time that, the day before I'd be like, this isn't working for me for tomorrow. And so we'd schedule it to a different day. And she was very accommodating. It could be Zoom meetings, it could be in person. It pretty much whatever was most convenient for me is what she accommodated.
I guess the way I looked at it was when it was offered to me at first, what have you got to lose? It's free. It was free for this amount of time. So what are you going to lose? I have lost absolutely nothing. I have fallen more in love with it every day that I learned something new about it. So it was one of the best decisions I made. And they are so very helpful.
Looks like we have a question in the chat about platforms with developmental screenings for children. Does anybody want to handle that question?
I'm not an expert on it, but I know, unless I just haven't seen it yet, Brightwheel has place for observations and helping you track your observations and tying it to developmental milestones. You can put in whatever your state, or obviously we're all on the same one. Sorry, that was silly. But anyway, I don't think they do a screening per se, but they can help you with your observations and your assessments going forward from.
Yeah, playground's the same way. They've got an observation button that it ties to the developmental milestones. So you can, if you're observing a milestone, take a picture, make note of it, and tie it to it for the parents' information. I don't use that aspect. It's one of the few aspects I don't use because I do the ASQs. So I've just never utilized that part of it.
Thank you. Yes, both platforms do connect to the Iowa Early Learning Standards. So as they said, you can connect it to the observations and then click which standards align with what they are doing. One more question I have for our panelists are, both platforms do connect to childcare assistance. Do any of you submit through Brightwheel or Playground your childcare assistance?
I had never done it before, and just last month I had a child come that needed childcare assistance, and I'm like, oh, I think we can do this somehow on Playground, but I'm not sure how. So I did do it and connect. It was very easy to do. The only thing I was confused about a little bit was how HHS pays, you know, they do 2 weeks at a time, I think. And so then you have to submit it on a certain date. And mine happened way before, like at the beginning of that time. So then I had to wait. So I was a little confused about that, but it really worked slick.
Mhm.
And I liked it. But they didn't pay.
Yeah, I have a family that's been on it since they started with me. And that was not my favorite thing, to have all those attendance sheets and then go in and click on those little tiny buttons, and one in and then out and then in and out, and then you not save and then you start over, and it really is automatic. And before you submit, you get to go through and you look at all your attendance times to make sure that they're correct. If something you messed up somewhere or something needs to be adjusted, you can do that first and then you submit. And I've had no problems at all, not even in the beginning.
Awesome. Thank you, panelists, for answering everyone's questions. We really appreciate it. Does anyone else have any final questions while we have a little bit of time left?
I would just like to say, I had an HHS visit just last month, And when she came, she was impressed that all of my parents' stuff was on playground. No, because she'd been there before and we hadn't got everybody on board. And so she's like, oh, good. I only have to go to the computer and look at everybody's stuff is on there. So she was really impressed that that was all on there and it was so simple for her to do. So I do really like it. And I like when I have new parents, they can go on, fill out the paperwork, and it's brought right to me, So I have it. I like that much better than waiting for it.
I totally agree with that, Tammy. It's you have all of your enrollment forms. They go in, fill it out. You have it right then and there instead of, oh, I left it in my husband's car, or oh, I left it on the counter, or they fill it out. It's there before that first day, before that kiddo even starts. I love it. Love the enrollment part of it.
And it tracks the immunizations. So it's never a question if they're running close on time with one, you know immediately.
So does it, I'm just curious, does it, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Do both of the playground and brightwheel, do they give you alerts when the parents need to re-sign? For example, like annually, we have to have them re-sign all the forms or at least redate it, correct? Or sign date, whatever. Will it give you alerts as to when that is? And then also, I'm curious too if you can keep track of your own trainings on there and your own, for example, CPR, first aid. Can you keep track of your own things on there too? And then it'll alert you as well that, hey, it's time to renew your first aid CPR.
I can answer that one. For trainings, no, it does not on playground. However, we're supposed to be uploading those, to the iPower system with HHS. So make sure you're doing that because when it comes time for renewal, you have to have them on there, but not for playground. I don't know about Brightwheel, but with playground, it will send alert. You can set when you set your forms up in there, it'll allow you to say, okay, I want this yearly, I want this every 3 months, whatever, and then it'll send an alert to the parent and it'll give you a notification that says this is overdue, that you need to go in and you do that. I like that aspect of playground. I really do. To make sure for, HHS that all your forms are being signed on, yearly, or however you set it up. Did I answer all your questions? Okay.
So I'm going to go off of that just a little bit as well on both of them. If you add yourself as a staff member and you have yourself in there, especially tracking your time and doing that thing similar like you do for the children, you can underneath your hour overview as a staff member, add staff trainings. But to go for both playground and Brightwheel, you can do those things, but definitely want to do the iPower. But you do have the option, even if you upload something, to add an expiration date and run those reports based on those expiration dates. So kind of going back for the renewal paperwork, is it, physicals, file requests, that kind of thing, you are able to put in that information so it's customized kind of for each kid. The annual paperwork, if you're doing that at the same time, you can assign that to each document.
I'm going to say one more thing about when you add yourself as a staff member. I have a 23-year-old and a 17-year-old. And so in the past, like I can claim, if they're like my 23-year-old, not so much anymore, but still the 17-year-old, he's tech savvy. And so, hey, can you go in and can you put mom's receipts in? Can you go in and can you do that? And so then it can track his hours. And so then at the end of the year, say, so Riley's home now from like 12:30 to, close 5:15 or whatever. So he helps me, in daycare. So, okay, bud, you're here. Log in and set your time, even if I'm a home provider. I mean, so log your hours so that I know how much I have to pay you, if I want to do it that way. And you don't have to pay your child, but it's a huge tax write-off to pay your child. So I just want to say that.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you. We have about 4 minutes left. Do we have any last minute questions? Again, our website and everything is in the chat, along with our business library. And then I did put in our general FMC email. So if you have any other questions after this, and you want to connect with someone, feel free to email that email and we will get you connected to a coach. And then you can also find our application too on the website if you want to get a hold of us that way. Does anyone have any other questions? Otherwise, we will let you go for the night. Thank you to our 4 panelists who decided and, willingly joined us tonight and answered all of our questions. And thank you to the providers who wanted to learn more about our program. And we look forward to hopefully hearing from you.
If one of the staff can stay on, I have a question. So I'm